how this study was actually carried out is our economic analyst and I-24 News host, Ariel Margalit. So I'm fascinated by this. Tell us about this LinkedIn experiment.
I think what's most interesting about this is the fact that, first of all, the scale. I mean, 20 million people were under this experiment without knowing for 5 years, from 2014 to 2019. And what this experiment tried to check is a theory that from 1973 by Granovetter. I actually studied it back in London when I was at school. It's called the strength of weak ties. It actually is a theory that argues that you get more opportunities in life from the weaker ties in your life. These are people that you're familiar with or people that are acquaintances, etc., that are at arm's length, than from your best friends and closest network. And that's a very interesting theory. Now, they try to check it. The thing is, I'm not sure, and probably that's the biggest question about this experiment, is whether they actually changed, the horizons, whether they are perspectives for work or for other opportunities for people for 5 years of their lives. So what really were the consequences of that experiment on people's lives? Because you were dealing with not rats in the lab, not people that knew that they were taking part, humans looking for a job, humans networking with humans, and they were doing it by amending all sorts of things in the algorithm of LinkedIn.
Right, so the finding was, at the end of the day, of course,
the finding was that the strength of weak ties is, of course, for the I don't know how many times, approved, that there is, they validated, revalidated the theory of the strength of weak ties. But what they did for many years is they amended what they call in high-tech A/B testing. They test, for example, 2 types of scenarios, and they see what works best, right? Even in the media, some people do it. For example, in the web, when there's a headline in the New York Times or in Yediot Ahronot. So with some users, they might try this headline, and with some users, they might try this headline, and they would see which one works better, where do you get more clicks, and then decide which one to go for the general audiences.
So it ends up, I mean, listen, obviously there's so many layers of issues here. First of all, it would be in LinkedIn's interest to find that weaker connections are just as useful as closer connections, because at the end of the day, this is a networking platform that provides you with that access to everybody. So I just want to say that, although, but I mean, obviously the main concern here is that you're right. You're looking for a job on this platform. The concept that this platform could be messing with you, potentially inhibiting your chances of getting that dream job you're looking for because of this study, is very concerning. And this is, that the overall ethical issue of data privacy as a whole when you're on platforms like this. We know tech giants do these studies on us, right? And is there anything that is done to stop this?
No, we tend to think that we see more of something because we've previously clicked on similar content, for example. Let's say you have linked with more people from your university, Duke, if I remember correctly, for example, then it might suggest more people from Duke University. But now we understand that this is not the case. It has nothing to do with your previous behavior, at least if you were part of that 20 million population, that was under the experiment. It would just be because they were playing with the algorithm and trying to see what happens if they allow you to connect with or suggest more weaker ties, or if they suggest more closer ties from your place of work, for example, here, I-24 News, etc., and see, because it was done for 5 years, they could see what were the consequences of that on your employment and on other opportunities in terms of your prospects.
Well, obviously, all of this concerns me. Obviously, you want to know if job opportunities were impacted by the study, although I know that LinkedIn has refused to kind of answer that question, because why would they? But is this exploiting privacy? Give us a quick 1-sentence answer on that. Because
well, of course, the tech giants would argue that if you were reading, the small letters, which most of us don't, and just click accept, then it doesn't violate anything. There is a huge fine line between data analysis and big data and violation of privacy. Most of us and most of these surveys and experiments lie somewhere in the middle. The companies would say it's A/B testing. Just remember, as users, that this is happening everywhere.
Oh, yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Ariel.